Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Slay to Success Talk Show. My name is Rochelle, Slay or Slay Queen Hemingway, whichever one you prefer, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. Slay to Success is a transformational consulting company where we rebrand transitioning leaders from either the military or the government space, especially taking an interest in women veterans. All right. So, on this show, the purpose of this show is to bring in men and women and we talk through the slave philosophies and the impact they are making by using the slave philosophies and making a huge difference in the world. Well, tonight, my guest is a little bit under the weather. As you know, this is the season where everything is happening. It's cold outside, people are catching colds and so forth and not feeling well. And so I was like, you know what, Queen, it's okay. All right. I'm going to be here on the show and showing up here. So I am here to have a discussion with you all about bringing your brand to life in 2026. So I hope you are ready, okay? Because we about to slay this conversation like no one's business. So if you are here, please let me know that you're tuning in, where you're streaming in from, because I like to give you a shout out. There's a lot of things that are happening. It is pre-Christmas weekend. Y'all, please pray for me. I still have to do a little bit more shopping. I'm one of those people who wait till the last minute and get out into these busy streets or get on Amazon and start ordering like crazy because I just have a lot of things happening behind the scenes. And I was like, you know what? Christmas is here. We have like, what, 4 days until Christmas? So I said I wanted to come here on this show so that way I can help us to kind of get through and start to think a little bit more about who we are, what we're doing, and what we're bringing to the table. So, Facebook is here. I see Vanity. Hey, Vanity. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight on the live show, Queen. I hope you're doing well. Um, so, we use the slave philosophies and these are all philosophies that really resonate with me the most. And I hope that they resonate with you too. Because over a long period of time, and it's been 3 decades of, leadership, countless number of experiences, and really sharing what I have learned and what really resonated with me during my service. So, y'all, I am a United States Air Force veteran, served for 30 years, and I collected all of these different philosophies and packaged them up. So, slay is just not, a fire word, which means to kill it, to dominate it, and to know it, to be on point, to impress greatly, and to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym. So each letter stands for, philosophies that I used during service and now beyond. And I've been retired for about 4 years now, and they certainly work. I have found lots of success, a newfound success after retirement and starting the business. So S stands for stay ready to be ready. L is lead out loud. A is a sense of community. And Y is you are built to last. So when I started the business, I said, I was getting a lot of requests to come in and speak at different functions, military and civilian. When I say civilian, like in the corporate space, nonprofits, small women organizational groups, and really speaking through, some of the lessons that I learned while in service and entrepreneurship as well as wellness. And I started to deliver workshops. I've gotten special invites to a lot of opportunities. And y'all, this past year has been absolutely mind blowing. And so I just wanted to share with you all how or what is it that I am doing to get opportunities. So when my aunt asked me, how do you go all these places? How do you get to the White House and deliver a workshop? And I said, it is my brand. I know that I spent hours investing in my brand. And when I retired, I wanted my brand to say something differently. I wanted to be more enthusiastic more fun and energized, approachable, kind of carefree, lighthearted, but at the same time, bringing in the leadership aspect with the playfulness of my wardrobe. And my wardrobe has, gone in so many different ways. And I'm purging my closet as we speak. So there's a lot of things that I'm getting rid of because I'm evolving. And I've seen this development of myself, but not actually from a personal side, but from a professional side. So when people ask me, how do you get these amazing opportunities? And I say all the time, it's the brand. The brand is speaking while I'm not in the room. And I'm going to share a little bit of the insights today on how you can bring your brand to life in the year of 2026. Because, y'all, we are here. 2026 is upon us in a couple of weeks. And sometimes we want to show up differently. And we're not quite sure of how to, but we know that something is calling us to do something else. So I see Vanity. Vanity is from Maryland. Thank you so much for putting that into the comments, my queen. So I'm in Maryland as well. We moved from South Dakota to Maryland a few years ago, and this is where we're at. And I started to really start to build my brand and rebrand myself. All right, because I realize that branding is not this logo color palette, if you will. It's really how do you make people feel. And, I have been amongst people that I felt like, you don't want to engage with me. You have no interest in finding out who I am. I can feel it in your posture, in your tone, in the way that you're looking, because you're really looking away from me. There's no eye contact. Um, the handshakes are off. I could tell right away. And for me, that's not who I want to be aligned with. So it's a feeling, y'all. The brand that you are, I guess, holding or presenting is this feeling. It's the impression that you leave. And does it stick? Does it stay in their mind? Or is it just an afterthought? And you're like, oh, I'm just going to meet these people. I'm just going to press on. Oh, they don't forgot me, or they don't know what I'm really doing. Like, no, we need to make sure that we are engaging in such a way where they feel us. Oh, hey, Leslie. Thank you so much for joining us live on the Facebook side. And happy holidays to you too, Queen. Happy holidays. It's been a whirlwind. Christmas has just really snuck up on me, as it does every year, y'all. All right. Dominique, he's always ready weeks in advance. I'm the one that's rolling in at the nth hour talking about, I need to go out here and go get some more gifts. So that's what I'm going to be doing this week. So it is a feeling. So many times we are struggling to be remembered for the right reasons. Maybe we've climbed the ranks or the grades, or, maybe we've gotten certain titles along our careers or our businesses, and we're delivering results. All right. We are making these promises and we're like delivering on the promises. And yet, when someone meets you for whatever reason, they can't remember what they know about you. They just can't remember. And that stops today. All right. In this world, and the world that you're in right now is Slay Nation. Okay. In Slay Nation, they remember us. Okay. They remember our name. They remember how we make them feel. They remember how we have engaged with them, all the little nuances and these details. All right. They remember. Someone came to me the other day in a conversation, and they said that they remembered this necklace set. And of course, pink. And I built this on my own. It's two necklaces, kind of built on top of each other. But I've been wearing them here recently, like almost every day. And I have a pair of shoes that I wear almost every day, which is part of the brand. And the brand is really about, helping them to remember certain things about me. Hey, Glenroy. Okay, you're tuning in while doing dishes from Vegas. That's right. That we on Sunday night. We're trying to get ready for the week. So thankful that you could go ahead and stream in tonight for us. And Leslie George says she's doing the same. Y'all washing these dishes. Okay. Um, so, you know, we don't want to be forgotten about, and we don't want to be misperceived. All right. Those are the two things that people, when they start to partner with me and they're like giving me these words of, they're describing to me of how they are feeling or what they have experienced. And they're saying, that people are forgetting them or they're misinterpreting them. And again, what we offer and what we do isn't optional. All right. It's the new currency. The new modern currency right now of leadership is confidence. I can tell my confidence level from where I was in the military, which was very high. It was very high. It dipped just a bit when I was in transition, and it slowly creeped up over the years to being high again. But it took some time because I would always say, I don't belong in this room. No one in here has ever served in the military. They don't have any idea about government service. Like, how can I connect to them and how can I build rapport with these people? Like, we don't have anything in common. That's what I would continue to say over and over again. And I had to reprogram and be like, you belong in this room. You deserve to be seen. It's okay to show up in your brand colors, queen, and with whatever it is that you got going on, making sure that it is in alignment with this presence that you want to give. Too many times we think presence is something that we don't need to think about. And I'm going to tell you right now, when I meet someone and their energy is flat and there's no effect to it, I don't want to be connected to that person because that's not the energy that I give, right? I'm looking for people either at the same level or a higher frequency than I am because that's just how my personality is. So we have to really think about our presence and it being the new currency. Well, confidence in itself is a new currency. And if someone met you once, okay, if you happen to go into the grocery store and you meet someone while you're waiting in line, because sometimes that happens, could they describe you without checking in on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, chat, Snapchat, Twitter? Could they describe you without looking up anything? All right. If not, it's time to do the work because branding, personal branding is going to be the new wave of resume. Okay. These resumes, they said that they were like reducing them down to like 2 pages. I don't know if I could actually condense all of the things that I have done over my years into 2 pages, but that is what the requirement is now. So we can't just rely on resumes, and which a lot of people still do, or they rely on their bio and thinking that's going to, just cross on over and they're going to get whatever they're looking or searching for. We got to bring our brand to life, y'all. We got to make it into this picture that you could actually this visualization. So again, I go to church, okay, this morning, and I go to the First Baptist Church of Glenarden, and Pastor Jenkins is the pastor, and he always paints a picture. It's always painting a picture, and you can kind of think of and imagine in your head of what it would look like. All right. So that's what this branding is. All right. It's this visualization along with what you're saying, how you're saying it, that all paints a picture, because then you could describe someone that you met to someone else in a way where it just like, oh my goodness, I can already envision who this person is. Ernestine, hey fam. Merry Christmas to you as well, Queen. To you and your family. It is upon us. Christmas time is here, y'all. Hopefully you all have great plans. We are staying here and we're chilling out, okay? Um, so if people cannot describe you that after the first time that they meet you, then it's time to do the work. All right? Because I have heard over and over again where people are feeling invisible or overlooked in meetings despite their expertise, despite their skill set, despite, all the things that they have learned and gone through. People are being underestimated because authority isn't communicated effectively, and people are relying on titles, resumes to convey their competence. And I got a taste of it when people would call me, and when I used to work in the medical clinic, because that was my background as a medic, and they wanted an appointment. Okay, now appointments in the medical community are hard to get, especially nowadays. Okay, so when they found out who was in charge of a clinic, they would call. All right, so when I was in a clinic, I was in a major clinic, it was primary care, family health care clinic. They would call me direct, and I would have conversations, and it would go like this. This is retired Tech Sergeant so and so, which technical sergeant is a rank, is an enlisted rank in the military, in the Air Force. And hence the word retired, okay, was put in the front. As if that was supposed to be the get to doing and make sure I'm taken care of, right? Now, in my younger years, yes, I was like, oh my goodness, I gotta need to find them appointment. I know it's hard for the appointment. We got people who are actually serving in the uniform, but he's calling because he's really needing an appointment. Let me try to see, right? And as I matured in the military, I continue to hear this over and over again. And then, in my last role, they'd call me up direct. This is retired so and so. And I'm thinking, why are you leading with this retired statement? I get it. All right. Because I'm a veteran, I'm on the other side of it. And I understand what this is all, about. But I wanted something different for me. I wanted to stand on this is Rochelle Hemingway. Okay. Um, and and then go and proceed from there. Because at the end of the day, when you take off the titles, the logos, the uniform, the grades, you have to really figure out what's your new leadership identity. All right. And not relying on all these important, documents, if you will, to dictate you. All right. And Leslie said, nuggets, people are relying on their degrees and title for confidence. I am using that. They are. It's like, why? The For me, that didn't give me any confidence, right? My confidence comes from the tone that I set at the beginning of the day. And as you all know, I'm still running, lifting, sprinting, doing all the things, all right? That's where my confidence comes from. As the ability to push myself physically, but more important, mentally through challenging prompts. All right. So when the instructor says, hey, we are going up to 7.0 and we're going to hold this pace for the next 5 minutes. All right. I'm already in my mind going, I can't do this. I cannot do this. All right. And so what I have learned is to modify this thinking and shift it. But I can do 7.0 for at least 45 seconds take a break for 15 seconds, and hit back after again for the, doing intervals until I build up my endurance where I could do 5 minutes. It's not saying don't do it. All right. It's saying, hey, I might need to make some adjustments. And so confidence for me has never came from any degree, any promotion, any certification. It never really came from that. It came from the internal work that I've had to do over and over again to really show up as my true self. And when people can do that, you see confidence. I get all the time, you are light. You are light. I don't know what's going on, but every time you make me happy, you make me smile, you give me this good vibe. And it's because I have found what works for me, what works for me. And so that's what you have to find for yourself. Hi, Dr. Castile, Casey in the building. You know what we doing. Okay, we slaying at the seventh hour of the day, 7 o'clock evening. I'm not going to be here for very long because I know everybody got a lot going on, but we're talking about bringing your brand to life in 2026. Okay. And this is a time, I mean, there is so much chattering going on about branding, and some people are slaying it. Okay. And some people, I don't know, they're confused, there's no clarity, they're not quite sure how to do it. They feel like, "Oh, this is just self-promoting." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. You're not telling people like, 'Hi, my name is, so and so, and this is what I do, and this is how I'm doing it,' and so forth, so on." No, you are making them feel a certain way, and you're giving them an insight to who you are and how you operate. Your brand really lives in your presence. It's not in your business card. I got some great business cards, y'all. I don't even have one laying around here anywhere. I have some really great business cards. All right, got a picture of me on there. They're pink and black and gold. Got all my information, how you can find me. And, they're really nice business cards. But I know that my presence doesn't live in that business card, because when I think about presence, I think about details. Details count, all right? Your posture counts, your wardrobe counts, your tone counts, your cadence counts, and of course, your confidence counts. All right. So if you're walking into a room and people notice everything except for you, your brand is failing, okay? It is not doing the work that you want it to do. So you've got to make sure that we're not skipping out on these things. We're walking to rooms. I had to stop walking heel to toe. And in the military, that's what they taught us. Walking heel to toe. Okay? You dig your heel into the ground and you land on your toe. And you're doing this like marching thing, all right, when you're entering into the rooms. And that gave the signal to other senior leaders like, oh, wow, they're sharp. They in here like walking like like they're in formation, right? And I had to learn on the other side, that's not what people are doing out here. I didn't learn how to not walk heel to toe as things are. I had to, you know, kind of like sway into or swagger into these rooms, and I sometimes make a big like experience of it. I have these coats, y'all, and they're are very loud, and they're already kind of a statement piece. Not already, kind of. They are statement pieces. And just taking off your coat, slowly laying it down or hanging it up, whatever you're doing in this room. And I have the pink underneath it, and people are just like, "Who is this girl?" And I don't say a lot. I just know that my brand is speaking, because when they go and they start to look me up, everything is consistent. There's nothing off about what I'm doing. And I absolutely love it because I have really created this for myself. I didn't copy. I'm not looking to see what everyone else is doing. I'm doing things that make me feel good and then make others feel good as well in the moment. So, how many times have you entered into a meeting or left feeling like no one noticed your value? All right. Or worse, someone misreads your energy and it affected opportunities. All right. That's a gap we're closing. We're not doing any of this random winging it stuff anymore. In Slay Nation, we are making sure that our brand is speaking what it needs to speak. And I'll tell you, people can get into habits, okay? And I'm talking about poor habits very quickly, and they don't even notice. Other people are noticing it, but they don't notice because they are not allowing the feedback that they're getting. They're not allowing themselves to process it and make adjustments. All right. So when I go to social events, I can tell when somebody's energy is off. I can tell. And most of us can tell too, right? So when your energy is off and you're going into a room full of people, that's the first thing that you want for people to say. Because I have said, I don't want to talk to these people. I don't want to deal with these people. I don't have the patience or the tolerance level. If their energy is off, I know we have bad days. Like, don't get me wrong. All right. I know we all have bad days or whatnot, and things, that we thought were going to happen don't happen, or people that you think that you're going to work with or partner with that falls through, or opportunities that you were we're seeking to either speak or, deliver workshops or get that client. It just doesn't go through. And then our energy shifts, right? And it almost seems like there's this desperate type of energy, and I read that, and I don't know, I'm not necessarily an empath, but I can actually feel energy. And I don't say anything to the person because I don't want to engage into that. I'll find someone else that is the right level of energy and have a conversation with them. But then they're always wondering why they're not getting the opportunities. They're always wondering why they are going in and they're expecting something and they don't get anything in return. Oh, Cheryl, how are you, Queen? My sister. Okay, she says you're amazingly inspiring, Keith Slan. Oh my goodness. You know what, Queen? Thank you so much. And you are too. All right. What we do for our community, we're showing up. We're giving them, some things to think about. And that's all this is. All right. We're thinking about some things right now and really doing this reset, especially during the next 2 weeks prior to 2026. All right. Sometimes we just have to say, we need to do better. That's all this is. Sometimes we have to say we need to do better and then start to do better. Don't do a lot of talking, okay? Because there's a lot of people who do a lot of talking. And what I call puffing, I watch Judge Judy a lot. She's in the background as I'm working if I'm at home. And she has this statement about puffing. This is a lot of talking up something, but really not following through. So people can read the energy. They don't want to team up with someone who has this energy where they're not going to give life. They're not going to speak life. They're not into win it for the team. All right. They're just always looking for an excuse. That's not us. That's not us. I'm trying, I'm doing a little teaching. Just a little teaching tonight. All right. And sometimes these things I'm speaking to myself too, y'all. So, I'm not excluded for anything that I'm saying. But sometimes we have to step back for a moment and do an assessment of where we're at and not get so bent out of shape about things that we can control. All right. So Glenroy says, your brand lives in your presence. People may not remember what you said, but they remember how you make them feel. Yes. Um, My confidence is literally large, a good smelling line that is kind and informative, that allows people to be the only other person on earth when I am engaged with them. I absolutely love that. All right. First of all, the quote from Maya Angelou, right? She, was so, the analogies that she would, write, and, the way that she would, um, tell a story were absolutely incredible. And, that quote has always been with me, because people ain't gonna remember what you said, or what you do or what you did, but they're gonna remember how you made them feel in that moment. And it'd probably be sometimes the first and the last time that you get to actually engage with this type of person, and you just missed the mark because you got in your own way about how you feeling about something else, all right, and not being fully present. So I love that. A good smelling lion, and you can already picture that, right? So your brand lives in your presence. So this gap that we're closing is because we in our minds think, well, we see them getting all the opportunities, so what about us? And this, we got to check ourselves. Okay, we got to check ourselves when it comes to our brand. And you could be the smartest person. Okay, I do a lot of Zoom calls, a lot. All right. And when I'm doing Zoom calls, especially when there's a lot of people on the Zoom call, um, I could see where some of the people that are in the Zoom call, that their energy is timid, it's off, or their delivery is unclear. All right. And they're not quite sure how to share what they do, and kind of leave some curiosity for people to ask more follow on questions. And then, for me, I don't remember you. I mean, I'm just so sorry. I didn't hear anything. You didn't give me a sense that you're really excited about what you do and how you do it. And I just meet a lot of people. I really do. And so we don't want that for ourselves. Our presence has to speak before our words. All right. I got my little notes here, y'all, so that way I can stay on track, because we could be here all night talking about this, but I know I only got about an hour. I mean, I could go longer, but I just want to keep this, under an hour. So I know you guys have other things to do. So here's something that we all can do for ourselves, and I'm going to start doing this too. After your next event, wherever that is, all right, and preferably in person, all right, ask someone that's there, all right, if someone had only one interaction with me, could they articulate who I am and what I stand for? So you're going to ask the person, could you really articulate, can you articulate or tell me who I am and what I stand for? Now, don't ask the person right away. Maybe circle back towards the end of the event and ask them the question. All right. If not, we got to refine how we show up until the answer is yes. All right. So how can we tell that our brand is actually alive, living, breathing, and working for us? So, indicators. I get text messages, DMs, pictures, videos, emails about slay. If anyone sees the word slay, I have, I don't know, lots of files on my phone when somebody says, I thought of you today. I saw this and I thought of you right away. And it usually has the word slay, it may be a phrase. Someone sent me a license plate, someone that they were behind and they took a picture and it had slay in it. Someone sent me like a toothbrush, like slay the day, toothbrush on it. That was on the toothbrush. I've got videos of, like older women saying slay. But that's an indication. That's a signal that your brand is working, because they are connecting what they saw with who you are. And that is something that we could start to work more into when we want people to remember what we are doing. All right. So our past struggles, they don't define us. Instead, we need to allow them to empower us. And sharing our stories, um, but leaving audiences unmoved is not the goal. Okay. We are sharing our stories, the right stories, for the right reasons, because we want a certain response. I'm not saying people are on your feet or anything like that when you're giving information on a panel or you're speaking or anything like that. But you can tell, all right, when people are locked in and they're really listening to what you have to say, and they're doing the gesturing, right? You'll get the head nods, you'll get the wow, or whew, I never thought about that. You could see that without them even saying a word. So we want to be able to move people, all right? And we don't want to be seen as a survivor. We want to be seen as the leader. So a lot of things we have to reframe. I could go on and on and on if I really work myself into it about all the struggles of being in the military, all of them. I can get myself worked up very, very easily. And I could start sharing stories that are sad, and they're in the valley. They're like deep, deep down in the valley. But I choose to share the stories that will allow people to kind of see a perspective that they may not be looking for or may not ever heard about. And through those stories, it's a reminder that I didn't survive the military. I actually was thriving in the military. To be honest with you, I was thriving in the military. Was it painful? Yes. But I could see myself overcoming many a challenges. And so we have to be seen as the leader. Okay. We are the leader of whatever community that we have been assigned to, whether it is the leader in your home, whether it's the leader in your career, in your business, all right, in your community, wherever that is, you are the leader. Don't ever forget that, because always people are just trying to brush it off and give it to somebody else, right? And it's no, you are now in a position where you could start to see people from a different way, and they get to see you. All right, never hiding and shrinking ourselves. Our journey isn't the background noise, it's the magnet. Okay, but we have to be able to share the journey in such a way where we're not putting people down flat on their backs. I've had conversations with people who have been through some very hard, um, and tough times, right? And they left me flat on my back, like to the point where I was like, "Oh my gosh," I'm just like, I couldn't speak, or I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. And we have to share our journey where it's a magnet. All right. And so there is a way, a technique, but telling our story isn't enough sometimes. We have to engineer it, all right, into one powerful, repeatable narrative that positions you as the authority. Does it take time? Absolutely. All right. The brand that I have built over the past few years was a day to day choice. I am making a choice every day to take the steps that are necessary to build the brand. And so I want to be positioned as the authority in this lane that I have created as a trailblazer creating my own lane, it could be feeling like, oh my gosh, what path or what lane I'm on. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I feel like this is the right thing to do. So the moment when someone hears your story and immediately thinks, that's so you, that's your signature moment. Okay. When you hear those words, that is so you, or that is fitting for you, or I listen, I want you to cherish that moment. I want you to take that. And that's how you're going to move out from being remembered for surviving challenges to being respected as a leader who solves problems and delivers results. All right. So instead of this generic career struggle story that I have heard from some people, and I'm just like, oh no, here we go. It's coming. I want you to focus on the moment when you turned a challenge into a leadership victory. Okay. That's the story that opens the doors. That's what builds trust and positions you as the go to person in your space. So you need to list out, and I'm giving you some Christmas gifts. This is Christmas goodies, okay, that I'm giving to some of you that are looking to bring your brand to life in 2026. You got to make a list of your key career moments, all right? And which one position you as a leader people wanted to follow, okay? Now, we got many of them, all right? But you got to choose, the one or two career moments that really stick out for you the most, where you were like, I was a bad mamma jamma. Like, yes, that was me. All right. I was doing that. I owned it. Okay. So that's when we refine it, we repeat it, and we make it unmistakable. That is part of how we can bring our brand to life. And then we also need to show up where decisions are being made. All right. Show up where decisions are being made. Now, I have had to learn this the hard way. I've had a lot of scars on this. All right. Because when we show up in rooms where people aren't really making decisions in there, there's just a lot of talking, maybe there's some connecting or whatnot, but there's no one in there that's going to really say, yes, hey, we're going to bring you in, or hey, yes, we feel like this position or this job is most fitting for you. All right. I want you to stop what you're doing. All right. Go to your car, because most times we're driving into these places, and go home. And I say that with all the love in my heart, because sometimes we continue to do this to ourselves. And the struggles are real. The struggles are really real. Okay? Because here's what's happening. So I chose to post online consistently. My consistency is, every day, every other day. There's like different things that I'm looking at for strategy wise, all the things that go into that. But if you're posting and you don't see real opportunity coming from these posts, okay, there's something that is off. If you're feeling stuck on the sidelines when you're in meetings and at leadership tables, something needs to be adjusted, right? Or you're having this visibility without influence, like you showing up, okay? You ain't got no problems showing up, but people, they don't have the opportunities, or they're not really falling like you would like them to, right? So visibility without a strategy is just noise. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Again, I have learned over this period of time that visibility without a strategy is just noise. I think my first year and a half, it was just noise. I was just showing up, y'all. I look at some of my posting and I'm like, oh no, what was that about? All right. I was getting that down pat, but then I was like, yeah, there's nothing really going on here. What is this all about? All right. Or if I show up to a certain event and I don't know, I wasn't having the right conversations or what, or I just wasn't talking to the right people. So I've had to reframe, and this is what I reframe from. Yes, they are reflective. Yes, I agree. All right. Um, and this is all this is really. It's we're in reflection mode right now. Like, and I think this is Lori. Lori, I think this is you. You're showing up with no picture, but I think this is you, Queen. So thank you so much for being here live and listening in. Um, you know, in 2026, I already see the writing on the wall. I already see it. It's coming. If you're not prepared, I'm gonna need you to get prepared. All right. The S in slay means stay ready to be ready. All right. Brands are built in rooms. They're not just in these feeds. And that's the one thing I had to learn. Okay. And I've gotten a lot better at analyzing and seeing what is working and what's not working. Right. Your panels, your private conversations, these communities that you're building, these leadership tables that you're talking about, these are where influence happens. All right. That's where this is happening. So, yes, they can happen in your feeds, like if it's a continued conversation off of your DMs. But I'm going to tell you, these brands, people will remember you. Okay. If you're building it right, if you're being consistent with it and sticking with it and not getting so lost in, I don't know. One week you're doing something and next week you're doing something else. Okay. Yes, Queen. All right. So like now I know it's you. We're here at the same. And you listen, if you're not connected to Lori Sales, I'm gonna need you to go right now and figure it out. Okay. She is a queen, queen. All right. And she has a lot of things that I'm talking about, already figured out. So, our influence, it really needs to be about, are we showing up near power? Okay. So again, I'm being a little bit deep in thought. Then my notes are reflective of that. Um, are we showing up near power or just where it's comfortable? I was in a room last week. It was at the Cosmos Club. All right. If anybody lives in DC or has lived in DC, once you get downtown DC and the streets start changing into letter streets, there's a certain kind of aura about it. And then when you get to the state streets, it gets even a little bit more like, oh, okay. So I was invited into this. It was more of a connection meetup. I got there a little bit later because of traffic and all that, right? But, anyways, I got in there. Never been in this building before. And it was like, wow, this is a very nice building. I don't know how I got here. I'm thinking that in my head, y'all. I'm not saying anything out loud, all right? And I checked in my coat because they had a coat check in. All right. And I was like, wow, this is so fancy. And they had a winding staircase. You go up to the second floor, and it's like a big room. And I imagine, like, like in the colonial days, like those rooms where they're like painted with all these different, people on the wall, and it's got chandelier in there, and I'm like, what? And so I was like, I am in a room with people who are powerhouses. All right. This is not just any room where people just kind of wake up, let me get these snacks, and get this coffee and, kind of act like I'm doing something in here. People were connecting, people were interested, people were taking names. I got cards, I had conversations, I was doing all the things. And I was feeling uncomfortable. I was so uncomfortable. But I knew that if I didn't stick with it and really put my effort into it, that I wouldn't have gotten as much as I did out of it. So we got to make sure that we're in places that challenges us. Attention is nice. It's nice to be getting the likes and, and people like, wondering what's going on, right? But influence is profitable. All right. I'm going to say it again. Influence is profitable. If your brand isn't attracting opportunities that pay, that promote, or position you, it's time to elevate the room you're walking into. Okay. Now, I am speaking that to myself. All right. There will be some adjustments made in 2026, but I'm going to tell you right now again, if your brand isn't attracting opportunities that pay, that promote, or position you, it's time to elevate the room in that you're walking into. You could post content daily, okay? But if key decision makers haven't met you in a meaningful setting, your efforts won't convert into results. And that's what we call this gap. Okay, there's a gap of strategic presence. Strategic presence is everything. So I don't just be going anywhere just to be going anywhere. People invite me to go to different places all the time. I am saying, oh, that's nice. Yes, I will go. Or that's probably not where I need to spend any of my time and effort at. Thank you, but I'm not going. All right. And I'm very cordial about my response. I don't say it meanly or anything like that, but I understand where my brand needs to be and who my brand is for. And if I go into a room where it's not being of value, or people are not really, seeing it for value, it's okay. That's just, but we plan out where we're going. We plan it out. And yes, influence is profitable. It is profitable. All right. It takes time to build influence, the right influence, but you stick with it and you doing it with this energy that is at a high level, and that people can see that you're genuinely interested in making sure that your brand, all right, is on point. Things will start to happen. All right. So I just want you to identify one strategic space this week where decisions are being made. Now, this week may not be a good week because this is Christmas week, but maybe next week or the week after that. All right. I want you to plan to attend. I want you to contribute or connect, and not for visibility, but to make an impact and be remembered. That's what I want you to do. I want you to be challenged with that. All right. So your brand must move people. All right. It must move people, not just impress them. You're not just building a business card. All right. And you're not just building a LinkedIn profile, which a lot of times people just think that's all I need to do. I just build this profile and I'm good to go. And people are going to be chasing me down. That's not what's going to happen. All right. In Slay Nation, we're building an experience. Each of us has the ability to build an experience. And 2026 belongs to leaders who are intentional, who have this embodied and unforgettable brand. Leaders who command rooms, all right? They're engineering their stories and they're positioning themselves strategically, all right? So that is what we're doing in the year of 2026. We are building profitable brands. And we're doing it in such a way where we are attracting, we are not chasing down opportunities. I'm not saying that you should just, lie in the wait and wait for somebody to say, yeah, we want you to come on in. All right. There's some work to do when you're building a brand, but I want to make sure you're building the right brand that speaks directly for you. Like, branding is a whole concept. All right. It's a whole concept. This is not for the faint of heart. This is not for someone who is going to think that this is like more of a vanity thing, or anything like that you can't put yourself out there or anything like that. If you do it right, the right opportunities will come for you. I have the receipts. Okay. I can put my receipts in here all day of where I've been, who I have been asked to come in by, and all the things over the past year. And I'll tell you, 2026 is going to be a lot like that too. Okay. Because once you do it, you can see that your work and your effort, they just start to align. All right. So we're going to start to step in these rooms fully. We're going to tell our stories powerfully, and we're going to let our presence do the heavy lifting from here on out. You're not just a brand. All right. And I say, well, we're going to bring our brand to life in 2026. We are the experience. Okay. Every single time you go into the room, I am the experience. Okay. I'm going to make sure that I am bringing myself into these spaces where people will remember me. And also, this is how legends are remembered. Okay. This is how legends are remembered. And you want to be legendary, because if you didn't, you wouldn't be listening here in Slay Nation, because that's what we do. Okay. All right, y'all. So I just went over a few things, a few things for you to take throughout the next couple of weeks and just kind of like marinate in. All right. And we're going to start to adjust and move out differently in 2026. Oh, thank you, Queen. Thank you. I appreciate you. I just in here just, we just be giving it, okay? Because that's what we are designed to do. That's what we were here to do. So again, I want you to just take stock in what brand you were building, but there needs to be a plan of action for you, for yourself. All right. And that's why I always have the QR scan code up there about the brand bully experience. Now, the name is going to change, because guess what's going to happen in 2026? We're going to the another level. So 1 Jan, y'all don't want it. I don't think you want it. All right. 1 Jan, there's some things in the pipeline right now, but we want to make sure that things are being put out there where we're going to really get what we're looking for. And I don't want to have anybody left behind. So that is the show for tonight. Now, next weekend, I will not be here. Okay. This is my last show before the beginning of the year, because I wanted to, make sure that I get my time to really think about what I'm doing, not only in my professional life, but also my personal life. Our son is in this basketball, y'all. Pray for me, okay? He is in this basketball. He got practices and games over the Christmas break. And I'm like, what we doing up in here? Okay, so, but, me and Dominique got our bleachers, our chairs for the bleachers. We are good to go. We take our water, all right? And I make sure that my camera is always good to go, because AJ, he be showing up, y'all, and he be showing out. Okay. So yes, I'm going to take some time. All right. So yes, we're going. Okay. Let's go. Nothing's holding us back but us. So we got to keep moving in the right direction, stay grounded, and get back on track on a good foot on 1 Jan. So as you know, I'm going to leave y'all, and I want you to keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. And I will see you all in the new year. Now you're going to see me online a little bit. All right. I'm going to still be posting stuff. But as far as the shows, you'll see me in the new year. Bye-bye. Thank y'all for coming. Okay. I had to say this first. Casey, Cheryl, Lori, Vanity, Ernestine, Leslie, Glenroy. Who else in there? Okay. I think that was it. Thank you so much for being here live with me tonight. I really appreciate you. And anybody else comes back, put in hashtag replay. Okay. Bye. Love y'all. Happy holidays.